Okay, good morning, everyone. Quite chilly morning here in Okaloosa County, but glad to see everybody here. Welcome to the Okaloosa County School Board's January 26, 2026 meeting. I call this meeting to order. Okay, board members. Of course, just jump in at any time that you need anything, moving along. Number 2 will be the approval of the agenda, and at this time we have no changes, so we'll get on that. Number 3, recognitions. 3.1, recognition of the winners of the pedestrian safety poster contest held by the Healthy Communities Okaloosa County Health Improvement Partnership, also known as OCHIP, presented by Superintendent Chambers. That will be this evening, correct? Yes. All right. At this time, though, we do have a guest this morning that we're so glad to have with us, one of our well-known, very active community members that many people know, he is the president of Bit Wizards. But today he's here as a member of the Surtax Committee, Mr. Vince Mayfield. And Mr. Mayfield, I understand you're going to give us a report on that committee.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Glad to have you.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Superintendent Chambers, and members of the school board. Mr. Justin Belcher, the chairman of the Sales Tax Committee, could not be here, so he sends his regrets as he's at jury duty. Again, I'm Vince Mayfield. I'm a committee member, and I'm filling on his behalf. This is the Sales Surtax Citizens Oversight Committee met on Tuesday, January the 13th. 2026 at the Niceville Administration Complex. The committee approved the minutes from the November 18th meeting and received a comprehensive financial report and update from Ms. Julie Perry, the Chief Financial Officer, as well as detailed project update from Mr. Joel Linder of Titan Jacobs. Both reports were thorough and they were well received, and the committee had an opportunity to ask questions and discuss the progress of the current and completed projects along with the associated expenditures. I'd also like to note that the first time in recent memory, we had 3 citizens attend the meeting. The committee viewed this as a positive sign of increased public interest and engagement. I'm also pleased to report that all of the current committee members have agreed to remain and serve through the full 10-year sales surtax term, providing continuity and consistency and our oversight responsibilities. Looking ahead, the committee is considering holding future meetings at our nearby school locations where surtax-funded projects have been completed or are underway. Our intent would be to conduct some of those meetings out in the community over the next coming years to provide greater transparency and firsthand visibility into the impact of the projects. Overall, the Citizen Sales Tax Oversight Committee is satisfied with both the progress of the projects and the expenditure of the funds. We believe the surtax dollars are being spent as intended in alignment with the commitments made to the citizens of Okaloosa County. Our next meeting is going to be Tuesday, March the 10th, and this concludes my report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions from any of you.
Board members, do you have any questions or comments for Mr. Mayfield? I'd like to know, when you're out and about, I know you're out in the business world, what kind of questions do you get from citizens about all the projects?
It varies from time to time. Sometimes they're asking us about, how is the money being spent? Of course, we try to inform them and let them know that there's a website that has a complete reporting of all of the projects. Sometimes they ask why this project or that project and have to go back and explain to them that this was a list that was compiled. I think the other thing that we mention is, or that I tend to always mention, is that we had $500 million in projects that needed to be done to our school district after about 40 years of not really taking care of what needed to be taken care of. We just didn't have the budgets to do it. Mm-hmm. And so that the surtax was originally supposed to bring in about $260 million, and we've brought in more, which has allowed us to accelerate some of the projects. But before we do any new projects, we would be finishing out the projects that we told the voters that we would get done. There's some misconception about the shared savings. That's another question that comes up, and have to explain that. there's some confusion with the recent changes that have happened with respect to the budgets that are going to be done in those 2 school closings. People are asking a lot of questions about that, so we're having to kind of educate people and let them know.
Okay, thank you, that's good. Also, I wanted to note that you said that all the members have agreed to stay on the committee,
Yes, ma'am.
which says to me that things are going well if they're wanting to stay involved with the committee.
Yes, ma'am. The support that we get and the transparency with respect to the data is outstanding. I get great reports every month. I'm able to pour through them and look at them and see where things are done. And then, as I mentioned, Titan Jacobs is always willing to answer any detailed questions that we may have. And additionally, members of the Surtax committee have gone out and been there at the beginning when they first broke ground on the projects, and then we've gone back out after they've completed.
Anything else, board members, that you'd like to ask or mention to?
Yes, clarification. You said March 10th is the next sales tax committee?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
I would just like to make one comment, and Vince, you hit on a good point. I know all of us get basically asked the same things, but I think it says more when it's coming from somebody like yourself who has, a very reputable business in our community, is very community involved, and you can get that message out even clearer than what we can. So I appreciate you and all the other members on the committee that help get the message out. So.
Thank you. Very happy to do so, sir.
Okay, did you have something?
I think Mr. Bryant hit it pretty well, but I'll just say, just carry over to your other members, Ms. Autry, Mr. Belcher, your other members, how much we deeply appreciate the service that you provide for the Aston Sales Tax Committee and the deeply important service of just helping to educate the general public on the importance of the tax dollars, how it's being spent, and making sure that everybody understands exactly how far it's going and the positive change that it's creating in the district. So I appreciate you, and if you carry that to the other board members, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir, I will.
And I would just add, thank you, Mr. Mayfield, for everything that you and the committee do to help our schools.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. My pleasure.
And I can't let you go without saying that Mr. Mayfield is a product of this school district.
I am.
In fact, my alma mater. So we appreciate that. And thank you for giving us your time this morning.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So moving on, we're at item 4, administrative personnel appointments. 4.1, appointment of principal at Destin Middle School, recommended by Superintendent Chambers. Okay, moving down to 5, public comment. 5.1, members of the public desiring to address the school board regarding agenda items only. That's Form MIS 5241. All right, and 6, committee and staff reports. We just handled 6.1 by having Mr. Mayfield take in for Mr. Belcher. 6.2, quarterly report, service agreements under the $10,000 threshold of internal and budgetary funds presented by Mr. Wyndham. 6.3, quarterly report, short-term facility use contracts and lease agreements under the $10,000 threshold presented by Mr. Wyndham. 6.4, in-county travel paid for December 2025 presented by Ms. Perry. 6.5, out-of-county travel paid for December 2025 presented by Ms. Perry. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. 7.1 will be the approval of the consent agenda. 7.2, approval of the minutes of the student disciplinary hearings of January 12th, 2026, minutes of the workshop meeting of January 12th, 2026, and minutes of the regular meeting, January 12th, 2026. 7.3, appropriation of District 1 School Board Member Capital Outlay Funds to Wright Elementary School for interactive classroom microphones in the amount of $7,157.06, presented by Dr. White. 7.4, appropriation of District 4 School Board Member Capital Outlay Funds to Davidson Middle School for a new sound system in the amount of $3,086.65, presented by Mr. Bryant. 7.5, request to advertise a public hearing for the revision of School Board Policy 04-33, violent crimes/possession or use of tobacco products, alcoholic beverages, drugs, weapons, or firearms, presented by Ms. Schroeder, Program Director of Student Services. 7.6, request to advertise a public hearing for revision of School Board Policy 11-20, tobacco products, smoking and vaping on school board property, presented by Ms. Schroeder. And certainly, the vaping is a real concern. 7.7, invoices to be approved for payment, presented by Ms. Perry. 7.8, school donations, presented by Ms. Perry.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd just like to identify that last month we had $21,000 from businesses that were given to the district to underwrite the Teacher of the Year banquet. That's
fabulous.
Huge. And for the year, we're at $385,862.64, all from the community.
Yeah, it's fabulous, the support we get. All right. Thank you, Mr. Heinley. 7.9, payroll warrant register and accounts payable warrant register totaling $43,093,619.34. Self-health insurance claims and fees totaling $3,900,972.39. And bank transfers totaling 0 for December 2025, presented by Ms. Perry. 7.10, authorization to appropriate federal impact aid funds and make a payment in the amount of $100,525 to charter schools, presented by Ms. Perry. 7.11, application to participate in new Medicaid enrollment system and name the authorized representative, presented by Ms. Perry.
Madam Chair, I have a question on that one.
Certainly.
So who is the named authorized representative?
Yeah, me, Julie.
Who's the named authorized representative?
That would be me.
Okay, I was just double checking, so, thank you.
Thank you. All right, 7.12, sole source number 26-08, purchase over 50,000, Vista IT Group, presented by Mr. Wyndham. 7.13, tag on bid purchase over 50,000, Howard Technologies, presented by Mr. Wyndham. 7.14, tag on bid purchase over 50,000, Dell Technologies, presented by Mr. Wyndham. 7.15, exempted purchase over 50,000, Waterford Technologies, Inc., presented by Mr. Wyndham. 7.16, exempted purchase over 50,000, Apogee Amendment, presented by Mr. Wyndham. 7.17, amendment to service agreement number 26-42, Shalo Cyber Solutions, presented by Mr. Wyndham. 7.19, sale and disposal of surplus property, presented by Mr. McElroy.
I just have a comment on that particular.
Okay.
I mean, we all look at what's on the disposables. Sometimes it's just little things, but I couldn't help but notice mow trailer. So I'm just curious. I mean, there's no value on it or anything like that, so I'm just curious how.
Most of these items were donated to OTC,
Okay.
so they work on them during those programs.
That's what I was gonna ask. Would that be something OTC would have probably received or something like that? So,
Yeah.
okay.
And my understanding is that we registered those vehicles or the trailers, and then they become our
All
property.
right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McElroy.
Okay, thank you. All right, 7.19, request for course code adoption for the 26-27 school year, presented by Ms. Gillis, Specialist Curriculum and Instruction. And this is for contemporary history, correct? Yep. All right. 7.20, control open enrollment school capacity report for the 26-27 school year, presented by Wendy Meserve, Director of Forecasting and SIS Services. I do have a question about that.
And I will say, Madam Chair,
Okay.
it can either be now or during my time, we do have it prepared to go through the controlled open
Okay,
enrollment.
that's great. Yes, we'll wait for that.
Yes, ma'am.
That'd be better. That way you might answer my question before asking. All right, 7.21, tag on bid purchase over 25,000. I think that's recording, and I don't know how you pronounce that, but on AstroTurf Corporation, presented by Dr. Smith. What's the name of that company, Mr. Smith, Dr. Smith? Recording. Right? Gotcha. All right, thank you. Okay. 7.22, quarterly school safety compliance report, second quarter, 25-26 school year, in accordance with Rule 6A-1.0018, parentheses 4, parentheses F, FAC, presented by Mr. Dean. 7.23, application to the state of Florida for safety and security of school buildings grant, TAPS number 26A097, presented by Mr. Dean. Have we done this before, right? This grant?
Yes, ma'am.
Same, it's just repeating? Yeah, okay, thank you. 7.24, Telco Task Order Number 004, OCSD Health Clinic Vercatus Security Cameras, presented by Mr. Dustin Keith. All right, anything? All right, moving on to Section 8, Superintendent's Human Resources Recommendation. 8.1, for information only, employees on administrative leave, presented by Ms. Maxey. 8.2, also for information only, Deferred Retirement Option Program, presented by Ms. Maxey. 8.3, out-of-field report for the 25-26 school year, presented by Ms. Duran. 8.4, employment separations, presented by Ms. Maxey. And 8.5, personnel recommendations, presented by Ms. Maxey. 8.6, employee transfers, presented by Ms. Maxey. And 8.7, employee suspension, presented by Ms. Maxey. 8.8, reinstatement, reimbursement of sick leave due to line of duty illness, injury, medical examination, presented by Ms. Maxey. And 8.9, leave without pay, presented by Ms. Maxey. All right. Okay, number 9 is discussion agenda. We don't have any at this time. All right, moving on to 10, construction program owners representatives business. 10.1, program status report. Now, we heard from Mr. Mayfield. Do you have anything on 10.1?
No, ma'am, I gave that report last
Time. So we,
And in the 10.2, 10.3, all the way through 10.5 are self-explanatory, and I had touched on them last month, or last meeting.
Okay.
And then you have your validation letters for those as well.
yes, that Dr. Smith gave us. All right, so let's go through those items. 10.2, program number 6, task order number 22, time and materials task order, district-wide ADA sidewalk and parking lot striping, presented by Dr. Smith. 10.3, program number 6, task order number 25, time and materials task order, district-wide stadium repairs, presented by Dr. Smith. 10.4, TPM program number 6, task order number 32, scope modification number 6, GMP central administration roof coating replacement project phase 2, presented by Dr. Smith. 10.5, TPM, program number 6, task order number 45, scope modification number 1, GMP Okaloosa Technical College, OTC, restroom renovations, and Laurel Hill School restroom locker room renovations, presented by Dr. Smith.
Madam Chair, can I comment on 10.5?
Certainly.
I would like to thank the superintendent for making this happen for, not only for OTC, but for Laurel Hill. It's very much overdue. I know this is something we've talked about for quite a few years, and really excited to see what the finished product's going to be. So thank you.
Madam Chair, I'd like to identify that as a sales tax project, so it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for sales tax.
Thank you. That's great. All right, any others on that, board members, before we move on? Okay, so we're going to move on to 11. That's the attorney's business. Mr. McGinnis?
No report this morning.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to 12, the superintendent's business. Mr. Chambers?
Thank you, Madam Chair, School Board. First of all, I want to address the weather And I want to address the weather from a standpoint of, I want to thank Mr. Spolsky, Mr. Meyer, Ms. Demers, Ms. Card, and the team. And when we have weather events, there's a lot that happens several days before the actual event. Communicating with Patrick Maddox, communicating with various other sources to make sure that we're all on the same page, making sure that we have communication with our principals in schools and school board members prior to the event. So I just want to very much thank them. It always seems like it happens over a weekend. And so there's a lot of work happening over the weekend, and just appreciate that. And because there's a weather event that will also carry over to tomorrow, and we'll put information out today about tomorrow once we have the most accurate information from Patrick Maddox as well as the regional experts as it pertains to weather. We'll have that information out. But I want Mr. Meyer to come up and just also share just a little bit about, in essence, what happens operationally when we have these type of events.
Thank you, Mr. Chambers, Madam Chair, board members. So yes, we try to be as proactive as possible with the weather. Depending on what type of weather we're going to receive is what the plans we put into motion. But for cold weather specifically, within the operations department, there's transportation that has to prepare, and the maintenance guys do a lot of prep work before the weather. On the transportation side of things, if buses are sitting in cold weather for a while, it does drain the batteries, so mechanics will come in over the weekend or overnight or early in the morning to make sure those buses do start. And then we try to be proactive with the communication. If we know buses are going to be late because of maintenance issues, we try to put that information out to our families, because what we don't want is students and young kids sitting in the bus stop waiting for long periods of time in the cold. So we try our best to be prepared and ready. The unknowns are when we show up, which buses are going to start or not start. So the transportation, they do a great job in getting ready, and so we're prepared in the morning. On the maintenance side of things, our maintenance guys will prepare our facilities the best we can. We have a lot of exposed pipe here in Florida, and that's our biggest issues. When the weather freezes, so does the water in pipes, and we have a lot of pipes that bust. They'll go in and turn off water where we can. We'll wrap pipes where we can before the weather gets there. Again, those guys, they come in early anyhow, but they come in extra early on these days where we need to check the buildings, make sure everything is working, and make sure we have heat in our buildings. So the problem with Florida weather is one day it's 75 degrees and then it's 30 degrees the next morning. So when teachers and staff leave buildings and the air conditioning is still on, but we need the heat, so we got to get in those buildings early, make sure things are working properly. And again, as you know, we have so many types of building, whether it's a chiller, from going from air conditioning to a chiller to air conditioning or to heat in the chiller takes time. So you just can't show up and flip it to heat and expect 30 minutes later to be, it takes time. And then individual classrooms, again, when you're converting from the AC to heat with 50 different classrooms, you can imagine when we only use heat a few times in the year, we run into issues. So the guys do a really good job knowing their facilities, knowing the classrooms that we need to check, and getting in there early and preventing as much as possible beforehand.
Thank you, Mr. Meyer. And in one moment, I'm going to ask Mr. Spolsky to come up and just talk about the conglomeration of folks that we also communicate with. But I also want to thank Mrs. Lightborn and her group. PE occurs today, and just making sure that we have a good communication with the schools about the cold weather and the expectations in terms of going outside as well. And Mr. Spolsky, if you come forward and just share all the multitudes of folks that we speak with.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you, sir, for this opportunity to really highlight the staff. Mr. Mers and Ms. Card both use our digital tools and our conduits so that we can get messages not only out to our employees, as Mr. Meyer suggested there, but also to our stakeholders, which would be our board members, our leaders, our military base. liaisons, our military leaders, all of the people that really look to us for guidance in these situations. And we lean heavy on Patrick Maddox and the regional experts as it pertains to weather. But it's those tools. In fact, Aptigee is on this agenda on the consent, and it is a tool, an electronic tool that we use to push out alerts either in the website sense or in the text sense or in different kinds of notifications. So none of us like to worry about these things, but when you're entrusted with the young folks and parents' most valuable resource, their children, then we have to be extra cautious and put that information out there. And as always, this board and our superintendent puts in those messages that if it's one of those situations where you feel like it's unsafe for you to travel, then we help with those absences as well, with excused and notes that come from the parents. So we try to make it as calming as possible because our nation right now is being hit really hard with Winter Storm Fern. So,
Thank you. Any questions at all as it pertains to weather?
I just want to make a comment. I appreciate Ms. Card calling me yesterday, and I'm sorry I answered it like an excited high school kid thinking that school board meeting was going to be canceled today.
You and my dog. Yeah, everybody does. But also, I just want to, say that and I don't want to jinx this, but we've had to uncharacteristically deal with cold weather problems the last couple of years more than hurricane problems. We're kind of used to the hurricane situation here, but people seem to really panic when it gets cold in our area because we just are not accustomed to that kind of weather. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Also want to shift gears, and we had our Teacher of the Year banquet the other night, and just very much appreciate the work of all who went into this, from our teachers union and the committees who help establish who the Teacher of the Year is going to be, to HR and our team who's handling that as well. Thought it was an excellent event. I thought it was well run. And of course, we had our Teacher of the Year, Miss Kimberly Day Scanlon, over at Kenwood. But we also had our runners-up, so to speak, and Miss Kimberly Moran and Miss Sarah Terrace, one from Fort Walton Beach and one from Florosa. So it was a great event for me. It's always nice to see our Teachers of the Year recognized because it's a great representation of the excellent educators that we have here in this county. I do appreciate Mr. Heinley noticing the community who helps support this event, and they help support this event every year, and they stay committed to it. So I just very much appreciate all those individuals. So I believe that was a great event, and now we have Miss Kimberly Day Scanlon going on for the Teacher of the Year for the state of Florida. And if you've ever been in her class and seen her in action, she's one of our exceptional student education teachers who does an absolutely outstanding job. So just a great representation of the teachers and educators here in Okaloosa. Also want to just highlight, it's interesting at this time of the year, but this time of the year, updates come in. And this one came in just a little bit ago, but as you know, we've been in a graduation rate of about 87.8. And when you look at our 6 major high schools, Fort Walton, Choctaw, Niceville, Crestview, Laurel Hill, and Baker, they've been about 94.8 of our 6 major. But it's also a conglomeration of charters, Okaloosa Online, and so forth. I do appreciate very much the work of our schools, those 6 major high schools continuing to look at their graduation rates, which takes a lot of time, energy, and focus from our guidance counselors to our assistant principals to the clerks who work with this data, as well as the principal. But I also want to thank Mr. Spolsky and his group, who they look at every single school in terms of graduation rates. I very much appreciate the work of looking at Okaloosa Online to a greater extent. And so we've gone from 87.8 up to 91%, and to do a 3% jump, that is not easy, where again, our 6 major high schools well above the 91%. So just really appreciate the work of our schools and the district partnering together on that venture. Also,
Do we have, excuse me, do we have a list of that? Where can we access those rates?
It's the DOE, you can go to the DOE.
Oh, okay.
we can look at that, and if it's not on the website, that's something that where we can highlight that as well.
So we can see each school.
We have that graphically that we'll push to you, and we may do an extension of this as well for our public so that they can see some of the positive growth that we're experiencing right now.
Yeah,
due to hard
I
work.
love that. Thank you.
I do want to say just a recognition, and this is from the state level, congratulating our school board member, Mr. Tim Bryant, on earning the Advanced Certified Board Member distinction from the Florida School Boards Association. And I know that takes some effort there as well, so just want to say congratulations.
Great, Tim.
Want to go on, a few more highlights. The 2025 AP School Honor Roll recognition. We had Choctawhatchee High School, Fort Walton Beach High School, and Niceville High School, all receiving various recognitions, from Choctaw receiving a gold recognition to Fort Walton and Niceville receiving a silver recognition. And this deals with the strong college going culture at the school. It deals with supports students in earning college credit and encouraging sustained participation in advanced coursework, and then obviously doing well in those ventures. So this month, the FADS department, which is the Superintendent's Association, if I take a step back for a second, there's a statewide campaign on public schools, and public schools being what we believe is the best option, and really getting out the highlights of what public schools do in the state of Florida. And this month, one of the highlights is dealing with our advanced placement courses. So it's interesting that also this comes out during this time. So do want to just highlight these 3 schools, as well as our other 3 schools that also have these type of programs, and just making sure that when students leave any of our high schools, they're equipped to compete to go to the next level. And as you know, when students go on to college and there's that admission process, and they want to look at what is the rigor of coursework that happens at schools, and then for certain college institutions, did you take that level of rigor at the school? So to be able to offer these types of programs for our students is important. As you know, we have a 7-period day, and to be able to offer all of these types of programs for students is something that happens within our programs, and just hope that we'll be able to continue that as we continue to go forward in years to come. Do want to say a quick FTE update. One of the updates is going to be, you're going to get an update at the next meeting. And we're going through the process right now. I do want to let the board know that when you look at FTE projections for the upcoming school year, the state of Florida will provide you a model. And we have the ability to choose within the models that are given to us. And so when you look at FTE projections, the state of Florida, obviously, they do their projections for each county, and they look at a multitude of factors. And I will say that when you look at what our FTE projection will likely be, we will be down. Again, in terms of FTE, we'll have that exact number to you at the next board meeting, but it will be more than 1,000. Do want Mr. Spolsky to come up, and then after that, we're going to have Ms. Beasley come up on a CTE update. But first, I want to have Mr. Spolsky come up on a controlled open enrollment update.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to invite Ms. Meserve to the podium as well. We can work together to brief not only the board, but our viewers out there regarding registration and COE. So we put together a few slides here in a deck. I say we, like Ms. Demers is here next to me. Ms. Demers is our infographic queen, and hopefully the visuals that she provides, not only to you and the public, really kind of help simplify what COE, controlled open enrollment, is. So before we dig into dates and we start really talking about the details, I do want to say out there that controlled open enrollment is really for families. It's the process that families would use if they would like to attend a school that they're not zoned for. And as we know, what we are trying to do right now with a lot of things throughout our district, in the north, we have some large projects happening with Pineview, with OTC North, which is causing zoning up there in the north. And then in the south, you know, we have proposals out there right now on a timeline. So that's also causing some adjustments with the COE windows. So normally when we open COE, it all happens at the same time. This year, Ms. Meserve, how many windows do we have?
We have three windows this year to address the north and all secondary schools. The proposal in front of the board now for the south will be addressed later, and then afterwards is whatever's left as far as capacity.
So let's look at these three windows. Window 1, we will start registering students January 27th, and COE, or controlled open enrollment, will open that same date. And that is specifically for the north and the central elementary schools, as well as all of our secondary schools. So our middle schools and our high schools, our K-12 secondary grades, right? This is already out there on our websites. This is already pushed out, so we'll talk a little bit more about how our parents are getting this information so that they know what to do. And then window 2 will open, if you notice there, for our South End elementary schools. In the March window, because of our proposal for what is happening with our work in the South End right now. And then window 3, we'll open it all up again if someone decides between, January 27th, February, March, that they would like to try to apply for COE into a school that's outside their residential zone, then they can do that not only April 1st, all the way through the summer to the 10th day of next school year, the 26-27 year. So we have that big window where we have a lot of action. And when I say action, Mr. Ben Myers up in the COE office up at Carver Hill, as well as Ms. Hupp, receives a lot of those requests for COE after they go through the parent portal, the Focus Parent Portal. So anything you want to add to that, Ms. Meserve, at this time?
The only other thing is, even if there are schools with their capacity, we do have a very robust hardship application process that goes through Ms. Hupp, Mr. Spolsky, for those families who have specific needs. A lot of our military families, especially in the central area where we don't have a lot of capacity, they can make requests with their specific hardships for approval.
Thank you, Ms. Meserve. So if we expand a little bit here, if your student, speaking to parents out there right now, if your student has already been approved for the COE through controlled open enrollment, really no need to apply again. We actually will save that seat for them reserved for the next year, assuming they're staying at the same school. Okay, assuming they're staying this. Please note that not all schools have availability, and it was on that attachment, our predicted availability for the 26-27 school year. Specifically, we put these two pictures on here. I know they're a little smaller, but both of those are screenshots of the web page and the report that shows if there's availability at each of the schools. So if a parent goes onto our COE web page right now, OCSD, they can get all of this information, click on the school capacity report for 26-27, and it will show you which grades have open seats and which don't. Right now, we're not anticipating a lot of space in certain schools because of all of the work that we're doing, not only in the South End, but also all of the transition that's happening in the North End. We will have a little capacity in the North End because of the Pineview construction. So, Ms. Meserve?
Madam Chair, I do have a question.
Okay.
Regarding the first wave, I remember us saying that all of the South End elementary schools were going to be closed, but I noticed Shalimar is still open. Is there a reason why Shalimar was still allowed to go through the first process, or the first window?
The projection is, or the predicted numbers, we have a little bit of room at Shalimar, and we have a little bit of room also at Eglin, and a little bit of room at
I did notice fluorescent.
Florosa. And we did that specifically because they're positioned geographically out there to the far west, and then what we say is the northern end of the South Zone for Shalimar. And we believe that a lot of our parents would COE into those two schools.
And just to clarify, they're on the report, but they will not open for seats, for applications until that second window.
Great question, Mr. Bryant.
Madam Chair, I have another question.
Yes.
I could. So on the recommended action, or where am I reading this? So it says that the COE capacity for each school is set at 90% of the Florida inventory of schoolhouses. Fish.
Yes, sir.
Can you explain fish for the public?
I'll do my best, Mr. Heinrich.
And me?
It's first of all, it's not fish of the Ichthyosthes family that we study in biology, all right? This is a school of, as you said, inventory report, which we look at actual student centers. We call them student seats, all right? And Mr. Meyer's group, Mr. Bill Smith, for years has a fish report that we work with MIS. And we use those seats, those capacities, in order to make projections that we have to report back to FLDOE. It was interesting when we went through some of our review in the South End, there was a lot of classrooms that had, over the years, turned into different spaces. Offices, labs, resource rooms, itinerant pieces, because of all the numbers that the board and the public has seen over the last few months, is a lot of our constriction has happened in the South. And anytime you have that in a building, and even though the fish report says that you have this much space, we didn't have that many actual classes in each of those rooms. So those fish reports are looked at very closely by us, and they're also looked at very closely by the state right now because they're determining percentages in capacities. We also weave into the fish report in those capacities a percentage for our Purple Star and percentages for our COE. So even though we could jam in, let's say, 600 kids into a school, we like to hold back 5% for each of those pieces. The problem in the north end of the district is we didn't have a lot of room at, let's say, a Riverside or an Antioch. Hence, we're moving forward on the Pine View project to build capacity across the north end. Whereas in the south, we had a lot of capacity based on those fish reports and actual courses tied to those seats, so that we're trying to make sure that we're using all of our schools to a certain threshold. We want our schools to be in that sweet spot where we're not too full, but we don't have 60 or 70% seat rate. It's like the oil business, you want to be right at the 85 to 95%. So you have a little bit of wiggle room where people can choose the schools they want to go to. However, we don't want it to be 105 or 110% where you can't move around. I gave a briefing last week to the military Hurlburt town hall meeting. Dr. McKinley Cross was there supporting as well with our Colonel Hamilton. And when I explained it to them that way, they like, our parents, our stakeholders, our families like to be able to choose the school they want to go to. So it's critical we have a little bit of that space in there.
So the COE, so if you want your child to attend the north for whatever reason, and you're in the south, as school's open, if you say it's open for enrollment, but you always leave a little bit for people transferring in, stuff, situations like that.
Theoretically, we always leave a little open. We try, sir. It gets really tough because eventually Ms. Meserve and I have to communicate with those principals, not only by hallways, but by actual grade bands. We may have room, as the report indicates, in 3rd grade, but be full in 5th grade.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anything you want to add to that, Ms. Meserve?
But I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if I'm a parent sitting and looking at this, and I'm looking at, wanting to put my child where it says the school is closed.
Yes, ma'am.
So what happens then? I cannot try and put Yeah, what happens then?
Okay, so currently if it's closed and it never reopens, you would submit the hardship application for
Okay.
review. You have to give substantial reasoning why you need that seat, that kind of thing. It goes through the process with Ms. Hupp and Mr. Spolsky. However, we are also required by statute to continuously review capacities so that as we see maybe in May, the enrollment for next year doesn't look like what we expected, as we saw some this year, then we have to open seats. So this report, and part of the reason why it's kind of general and in its nature, is because it's continuously reviewed and continuously updated, and we continuously look to open seats by grade level. So just because it's closed right now doesn't mean that it won't open.
So they have to kind of keep watching it. Okay.
Yes, we put it out there on the website, Madam Chair, and what we try to do with that is keep this as fluid as possible. But at the same time, parents and principals are looking at this when we go through the allocation process with Ms. Perry after the budget comes from Tallahassee. So this is just one facet of us steering children into particular grade bands. Hopefully, it's the grade band in the school that the parents want them to go to, right? And it could be for different reasons, not because of what color jersey they're wearing or what the mascot is. It could be for work. It could be for family dynamics. It could be because of travel. There's a lot of things that happen at the kitchen table with our families deciding on which school they want to go to, which more to come on marketing and services that we provide out there specifically for elementary.
So are you going to address if this board should move forward and vote to close some schools that have been suggested, then will this recalculate? Or,
Once the proposal is decided on February 23rd,
Right.
then we will dig into this chart even more. This is proposed based on that work right now.
okay, so at that point, if that's the way it goes, then you would be looking at this in a different way.
If you look on the list right now, Madam Chair,
Yeah.
you can see that Longwood is not listed on there.
Right?
You can also see that Mary Esther Elementary is not listed on there. So it's a predicted forecast,
Right.
which could change
But
based
I'm
on.
looking, I think my concern would be is, isn't Edwin's one of the schools that would be taking students if Mary Esther were closed?
Yes, that is an excellent question.
And it says it's closed though.
Yes,
So if I'm the parent at Mary Esther right now, and I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, if they close Mary Esther, where's my kid gonna go?
Yes, if they are in the zone for Edwin's, they are already calculated in that
Okay,
forecast
so
to be
there
there.
you go.
Yes, ma'am.
See, that needs to be stated.
Great question.
Okay, yes, so, because it looks right now like my student wouldn't have anywhere to go if that was part of it. Just a few at Florosa, so, okay.
Yeah, these capacities account for any board action to close Longwood or Mary Esther, and that those students zoned for Edwin's in the new zones they have the space for them.
Okay, and likewise for Longwood, where they would be rezoned for
Yes,
some
ma'am.
different places?
Yes.
So that's already taken into
Yes,
consideration?
ma'am.
Okay, I missed that piece.
As a proposal, yes, ma'am, until February 23rd.
I would
Great.
like to make
Okay.
a comment also regarding the north end, just for reclarification. I know we've already said this, and I think this is why we didn't get as much exposure on the rezoning up there, because people that are already enrolled in the schools that they are attending right now will be allowed to stay there if they choose to, but they don't have to actually do the controlled open enrollment. They can stay. Let's say you're at Antioch, but you're zoned for Pine View, but you want to stay at Antioch. Would that parent have to still do the controlled open enrollment, or can they just say, we're here?
No, sir, they do not have to go back through the controlled open enrollment process. We have put the letter of intent in the Focus portal right now. We do ask, they let us know we want to stay at Antioch so that we can continue to firm these numbers up, not only for COE. The numbers of available seats right now are kind of low as we see what's going to happen with some of those students. And if they'll let us know, we might be able to provide additional capacity.
And to that point, sir, I will show you on this slide here, as we go through registration for those different areas, north and central, south elementary. But this one is specifically to your question, Mr. Bryant. That's why I'll jump to this slide. Ms. Meserve and her team updated 500 street records as we went through that zoning approval process for the north end, because that actually catalogs them with the school site locator. So her team, along with student services, worked together to create this letter of intent website where parents actually declare if they are going to stay, in your example, at Antioch or go to Pineview. And we will continue capturing those numbers and then reporting those back out to senior staff and to our board as that happens.
So it's possible, even though Antioch is open right now, or any school that would be affected by Pineview, those numbers could change, or did you already build that in, considering?
Go ahead, Ms. Meserve.
It's built in. We have a commitment to offer seats through COE to all the north end with the addition to Pineview this year. So that's why you see some minimum numbers of seats. We hope that as we get more information that we can open more.
I do just want to add one caveat, Mr. Bryant, to your statement, and that is if they do decide to stay at their current school and they are now outside of the zone, they would have to provide transportation.
And Mr. Spolsky, just a quick question that I think we know, but the public might not know. This is all the consequence of state law. Is that right? That when the state passed the statute providing for open enrollment, we were required to go through this process until you guys set it all up. Is that right?
That's absolutely right, Dr. White.
All right. And if I remember correctly, one time the state law said that this would be open to any student in the state of Florida to come to our school district. Is that right?
That's absolutely right, sir.
And do we have students from other school districts that choose to come to Okaloosa County?
Well, a lot of them want to come to Okaloosa County, sir, because we're one of the highest performing districts in the state. And we do have them from Walton, from Santa Rosa, from the neighboring counties, even as far as Escambia, to come and be a part of us. And I will say that this isn't anything new for Okaloosa County because we've had a lot of customers want our services.
But having it opened like this is something that has been a change for us in a way, as far as us putting it out there and saying these are the seats that we have open, and et cetera, et cetera. The only thing that I want to add to that is the funding follows those students. Is that correct? We receive the funding for those students wherever they come from.
Yes, specifically in the primary grades, we usually earn a full FTE. In the middle school, we usually earn a full FTE. Depending on how many actual courses or periods they attend in high school, then the FTE funding would follow them. Yes, sir.
And how does athletic eligibility work into all that? Say a student chooses to come to us from Escambia County in the example that you used. Are they allowed to participate in sports at our high schools?
As long as they meet all of the Florida High School Activities Association guidelines and tryouts and deadlines and paperwork, yes, sir.
Well, that would also be attractive, I think, for folks outside the county.
Absolutely, sir.
Thank you.
I do have a follow-up question to Dr. White, if that's okay, Madam Chair. So you did say we have students that come from Escambia, Santa Rosa, Walton, but we also have students that come from Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. How does that funding work when they come from another state and they actually attend school here in Florida? I know it's a trick question, but.
As long as they're here, we earn the FTE for them. So.
We would report them as with their Florida ID to the DOE, and we would count them as long as they're here at both FTE counts in February and October. That's how we capture those students.
I know it's a small number of students, but we do get them from Alabama. Yes, sir.
So I think where we are, what I'm seeing where we are now that's important out to the families is that if they can go ahead and make a decision the sooner the better, that will aid us in getting students placed quicker and getting ready for that first day of school. So if they're listening to this and they can go ahead and have that as you said, dinner table talk and make that decision, then that will help us at this point. Here we are approaching February and getting ready so that, because this, as you can see, I think most people look at this, it's really kind of a puzzle, and it's challenging to, and it shifts. So the more we know up front from those parents and what they want to do, so maybe the message should be parents could go ahead and look at the options. They've had the information now that would certainly help you and Ms. Missouri, our district, to come up with those numbers and make it a better situation, because ultimately it'd be better for the students, because we want to be ready and have all that ready, and the more we know up front, the better, right?
Absolutely, well said, Madam Chair. And I know the Office of Finance over here, Ms. Perry, and I know HR with allocations. I know the union. When we register all these kids, when we get them in the right slots, in the right grade, where the parents want them as much as possible, then all of it starts to come together. So, yes, ma'am.
And just a reminder to the board, when you look at the North End elementary schools, and you look at the North End middle schools, so what did we do approximately 5 years ago or so? Is we said we were going to build Pineview. And we were building Pineview, one, because of the enrollment occurring at the north end of the county, but also due to the capacities up there. And by building the one K-8 school, it would open capacity, in essence, at each of those schools. And that's what that has done. And then you look at also what's on here in terms of the proposal that will come February 23rd. We have a lot of capacity in the South End elementary schools, too much capacity. And that's something that this also takes into account, is it tightens those numbers up as well to be more economical and to provide more resources in those areas as well. Those are just a couple factors, but it's doing both of those things in the North End and then in the South End as well.
Anything else, board members? Okay. Anything else, Mr. Swanson?
No, ma'am.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
In the last presentation, we have Mrs. Beasley, who's going to come forward, and this board knows full well when it comes to career technical education, you guys have been strong advocates for the need to, one, have strong CTE courses, but two, to ensure that the CTE courses, by and large, filter to the current local workforce. And I think that we do that very well, led by Mrs. Beasley. So I just wanted her to come forward. We haven't had a CTE update in a while.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Mr. Chambers, board members. I'm very excited to be here. I love talking about CTE. It's something I'm very passionate about. We have a lot of amazing things happening in our programs. Just to give you kind of an overview, we have 68 teachers in our CTE programs who are all, most of them from the workforce themselves, so they have a lot of relevant information for our students. This school year, we have 8,236 students enrolled in courses in middle and high schools, and that's obviously a big number, and we're proud of that. And we have 22 high school CTE programs ranging from artificial intelligence to welding, agriculture, nursing. So we run the gamut of programs based on what we think our community needs.
Push a pause there for 1 second. So you think about 8,000 students, and of course, when you look at just middle school and high school, and I'm just roughing it, of approximately 14,000. So we have basically 50%, give or take, of our students taking part in CTE courses.
That's middle and high school.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, are some of those numbers, are they counted in both? Like, is some of those 8,000 considered high school students?
Oh, yeah, those are high school and middle school students.
Okay.
Now, the number is a little bit higher for, we do have some students who they'll count twice if I'm taking two different CTE programs. But that just gives you kind of an idea of how many students are in our programs. 7 middle school CTE programs. Every year our high school students and some of our middle school students take industry certification exams at the end of the course. And so we're very proud of these numbers. For last school year, we had 2,612 industry certifications earned by high school students in our programs. Our middle school students earned 832 industry certifications, showing that they're ready to start those pathways. And our digital tools, which this is the last year we have digital tools, we earned 1,109 digital tools in our middle school programs. The state has changed that, and middle schools are not allowed to take digital tools anymore, so we won't have that number next year.
That's your computer classes and all, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, ma'am.
So you gave 1,109?
We gave more than 1,109. They are past 11.
And the state's taking that away?
Yes, the state is no longer authorizing. There's some big changes to CTE funding at the state level, and one of the things is they're not funding digital tools for middle school. They want those only to be used in elementary schools.
So you think about that answer, and so you have these courses that are part of each school's master schedule, part of their curriculum guides, and each year, some CTE courses come, some CTE courses go. When you look at the digital tools, that's a pretty big deal. So it really impacts the elective offerings and the strategy, the plans that have been in place. However, we know that those things come every year, so we have to adjust, but it's that's a big impact.
Madam Chair, can I ask Ms. Beasley to define what digital tools are?
Digital tools are certification, a test that kids take on the computer that aren't industry certifications. So I can't go do Adobe Photoshop for a company, but they are testing tools, getting them ready for industry certifications essentially. So we have them. Most of them are in our computer-based programs, AI, Word, web design, those kinds of programs. And so we gave those, for example, in our AI track at the middle school, our 6th and 7th graders took digital tools that were leading to the AI certification that they would take in 8th grade. And now we won't get funded for those anymore. Also, those supported our middle school programs to help, fund the program itself. And so it's just one of those changes that, and as Mr. Chambers says, we roll with punches and figure it out.
Not only losing the funding, though, that what troubles me is those skills.
Absolutely. Now, what we've had professional learning with our teachers, and we've had them collaborate together to come up with a plan for, okay, how can we make sure that the students are learning the same things. Just because we don't test them doesn't mean we can't teach them those skills. And so, but we are concerned that those were good, I don't want to say, those were good practice testing, on a computer, on that kind of platform for our students. So we've just, made a commitment to make sure that our students are having those opportunities in a different way so that they were prepared for industry certs when they take them.
It's just unfortunate that the funding is connected to that because the skills are important.
Yes, ma'am.
But of course, we're put in a pattern where we have to have the funding to work with that, to teach it and everything. But that's a little disappointing that that's happening.
Yes, ma'am. Wanted to update you on some of our renovations. We write grants every year. This Crestview Automotive Shop was a $360,000 grant that we got last year. We're about to be finished with the renovations, and then we can start. We've purchased and we have received our Tesla Model 3 simulator, so we're excited about that. We plan to have an open house. I'm about to tell you about
What do the simulators do?
That simulator gives all the same, it looks like a Tesla Model 3, so it's an electric car, and it gives them, they can do simulators to give them codes of, this code means that, I'm not an automotive guy, but this code means that the brakes are bad, or that the computer's bad, or that the transmission's bad.
And then correct me if I'm wrong, so in the automotive class, for example, where doing an oil change is something that students learn in those technical pieces, but are they also learning now the computer aspects of the car?
Absolutely, absolutely. And they take industry certs on all of that as well.
So you think about that, first of all, just changing oil would be a significant thing for me, but now they're
Especially if
also-
you tried it on an EV.
Yes. Yes. Enough said.
We're very proud of our Tesla Model 3. We're the first high school in the state of Florida to have one, so it's a big deal, and that was part of a grant that we wrote. Another one of our 2 grants that we have are agriculture grants at Baker High School.
Yay.
At Baker High School, we have $274,904. For this school year, we have purchased a greenhouse, a tractor, curriculum. Believe it or not, they have animal birthing simulators. So all kinds of really exciting, innovative things for our Baker agricultural program. And then with a partnership with the Public Education Foundation, last year we received the $1,000 Career Catalyst Grant, and that's for Laurel Hill. Yay, Laurel Hill. We have purchased a tractor there as
That
well.
is good.
They already have a greenhouse, so we are helping support that greenhouse, and I'm planning to start an aquaponics program
That's good.
as part of that agriculture program there.
So go back one. Approximately how long ago did we start the agricultural programs, to the extent we're doing it now, at Baker and Laurel Hill?
This is Laurel Hill's first year and Baker's second year.
And I asked that question purposely because this is another example of the community who's asked, you know, can we have an agricultural program up there? Mr. Martello, Mrs. Martello doing a great job listening to that, working with CTE in the district. And it's just another example when we talk about tying it to the local community. I think that's just extremely important.
Yeah, we have a lot of support for our agricultural programs in the north part of the county.
And also, I want to say, because I know Tim's familiar with the Laurel Hill program, and I'm with the Baker program, but I want people to understand this isn't just maybe what you think about traditional farm or farm animals, but these students learn about soil conservation and how you grow different things. I mean, it's a science. It's called ag science, but it's very detailed in what they're learning to continue to, conservation of the land. And of course, many of these students, they live that, and they know that it's important, and they're seeing, what it's like to keep that land and everything. So they're learning quite a bit through these 2 programs up there.
Yes, they also learn marketing, they learn
Yep.
entrepreneurship skills, they learn budgets, all of those things are all part of that package.
Yep.
And this is our current grant that we just got officially awarded for the welding program at Crestview High School, $108,865. We're totally gutting that lab and putting in new booths. They're getting new equipment, new vents and ducts. And part of that grant also went to Destin High School for their cyber security program that they are starting up.
Are these state grants, federal grants, both?
Those are state grants. Yes. Elementary highlights. We try to be involved in our elementary programs as well with CTE so that we can hook them while they're young and have them start our programs when they come to the middle and high schools. This year we did something different with our summer camps. We had 10 elementary school summer camps at the camp. Normally how we do it, it's an elective kind of situation where you choose for your student to come to our camp. We did this as part of our summer school program so that the summer school kids had the opportunity. They were already being transported to summer school. Parents didn't have to drive them, and those students got the opportunity to participate in our summer camps this year. So we were very proud of that. And then our Building Math Skills program, if you remember last year I talked about it, we did piloted it at Elliott Point. This year we have it at Wright, Elliott Point, and Longwood. And that is the program where we are teaching them math skills while they're learning some building trades, and they get to build a toolbox at the end or birdhouses. And so the kids are really engaged in that activity, and we're hoping to see even more growth in their math skills this year. And here's my last. I wanted to end with this because this is our why. This is one of our student success stories. And I'm going to read you a little more of what she said. It's too much to put up there. But this really struck me, and this is from a graduate. She graduated in 2023 from criminal justice at Crestview. And she says, if I had not taken this class, I would not be where I am today. Currently, she is a 911 dispatch operator. She's been there for 2 years in March. And I just want to read a little bit about what she wrote. I would say both the criminal justice and dispatch classes helped me prepare for the job I have. The dispatch class especially had tests and quizzes that were almost identical to the actual PST exam. I was very familiar with the terminology of dispatch by the time I started. This class was a heavy influence for me. I had no ties with law enforcement. None of my family members are involved in it in any way. I grew up very military oriented. However, I had no desire to do that. In high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do afterwards until I took the dispatch class. I will say the teacher had a well-structured class in a way where it made the job seem interesting too. And then if I had not taken this class, I would not be where I am today. And so to me, that's our why. We want our students to be successful after high school, whatever avenue that they're taking. But this is an example of one, and where she's being very successful, and it was very relevant, and it honestly has changed the trajectory of her life. So any questions about ACT? I know we've asked kind of along the way.
Fabulous, fabulous.
Just
Go ahead.
So, Ms. Beasley, thank you very much. Superintendent, thank you very much. I know our graduation rate numbers were very positive, but I feel like because we have a strong CET program that we've been in place at least as long as I've been on this board, that's why you see those numbers going up, because and I've said this before, not every child is going to go to college, and not every child wants to join the military. And if we have these programs out there and we start them out at an early age, it keeps them engaged, it keeps them focused, it finds something for them to participate in. And that's why I truly believe you see our graduation rates going up, because we have captured those students that get lost, but then they get found.
Yeah.
Because we give them something that they see in what you said is their why, you know. And so I know we go to a lot of award ceremonies during the year. I'll tell you, the ones, I enjoy them all, but to see the faces on those kids that are getting certifications, some of them are actually going to go out into the workforce making a lot more money than I ever did it when I started out. And that's a huge testament to the success of the program. And, you know, I'm just thankful that we have this program and it's continuing to grow. So thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Y'all have any?
Yes, Madam Chair. What about adult education? What part of that? I see on 7.17 agenda item, we have approved something, or will approve something for adult education.
That's probably OTC.
Oh, okay.
I just oversee.
I didn't, okay.
Yeah. Mr. Williams and I work together, but we're.
Right, but you're separate
Yes.
items, yeah.
Yes.
So one of the things I just think we need to make sure we continue to do, Mr. Chambers, and I know we work on this, is the public needs to we need to make sure they are aware of all these things we're doing. And I think sometimes it gets crowded out and what's going on, and in the state of where we are and our situation as a public school district, I think I think sometimes as a public school district, we don't pat ourselves enough on the back on what we are offering students. And what we are offering students is fabulous. But it's the days of, back in the days when I was in school and you knew this, those days are gone. And we're going to have to make a concerted effort, our board, our district, everybody, to make sure we are pushing out there, and I know I'm talking to the choir here, but
Yes, ma'am.
pushing out there what we're doing great for kids. It's there, but we have to get the word out, and it's a loud and crowded media and every kind of world out there, and we may have to scream a little louder than the others to get it out there. But I think it's essential, because everybody could see this report right here, and you know they're not watching, but if they could, how thrilled they would be for what we are offering Okaloosa County students. So I just hope that we will definitely, I'm going to cheerlead on that and get that out there, because I am so proud of what this district is doing for kids.
Appreciate that. And we will get on that.
Well, it's a team effort.
Yes, ma'am. And the last thing, I'm just going to have Mrs. Lightbourne come up. Ducks Unlimited is another piece, and it also tailors to our science program as well, and acceleration points. But as she comes up to that quote that's up there, Dr. Hale will tell you, from his words, not mine, that the job that his son holds today is not necessarily due to his degree in college. He says it's due to the certifications that he earned at Choctawhatchee High School. So just another testament of the importance of the CTE programs. Ducks Unlimited.
Yes. So we've started, Laurel Hill was actually the first school that started that, and it's actually offered through environmental science. So we're doing environmental science for 9th grade. The Ducks Unlimited certification, we were told about October timeframe, I think, November, that it would only be allowed for 9th graders through the state. We do have other older students in there as well, but it's a great opportunity for those students. We're spreading that through the other high schools. Some have started the program this year. Laurel Hill did it last year, and I think had 100% pass rate, which is phenomenal. So it will help, acceleration points. It will help students. It's something that I think students are interested in. It goes into, again, a lot of the environmental science, a lot of the agricultural type pieces. So that is something we're going to be offering probably at all of our high schools next year, since Laurel Hill had such a great experience with it.
Mm-hmm. And I know that science part makes you very happy, Ms. Lightbourne. Great.
All right.
What's next?
That'll be it.
What? That's it?
That'll be it. I was going to have Dr. Smith and Mr. Dean come up and give a few, but we'll pass on that right now.
Really?
I'm being silly. We're good.
Oh, okay. Because they're here and they look motivated.
Danny Dean is always ready. I'll just say that. So is Bill.
Would you gentlemen like to come up?
They're good.
Okay, they're good. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, good stuff. Like I said, great things that we're doing, and it's wonderful. All right, moving along to 13, board members' announcements and requests for information. All right, I'm going to start on this side with Dr. White.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to quickly note what you've heard about before, that the Choctawhatchee girls weightlifting team has captured another district championship.
Great. Good. All right. Mr. Bryant.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So a few points that I'd like to make. Mr. Chambers, I owe you an apology. I did not put my request for a field trip on your agenda today. I'm going to be taking a tour of the Tallahassee Sausage Factory on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. So
The Sausage Factory.
The Sausage Factory, which would be the legislature. I'll be there.
Let's see how the sausage is.
I'll be there seeing how the sausage is made and representing our school
And
district.
chopped up.
Representing our school district to advocate for things that are important for our school district and our students. And I say that with trying to talk about how serious it is. This is a big deal. And, a couple weeks ago, we had a lot of people come and speak about 2 schools that might possibly get closed down. And just think if we could have that many people be engaged in what's going on in Tallahassee regarding funding for public education, which includes all across the spectrum, you know. I think things could be done in a positive way to make that sausage a little bit more palatable for us. But I will say it is an honor to represent the school district as the school district's liaison for this, and I will do my best to speak up on things that are important for the school district. I would also like to give a FSBIT report. As you know, I was representing our school district last week for FSBIT. One reason why I couldn't be at the Teacher of the Year banquet was because I was on my way to St. Augustine for a very important meeting. I do have some good news, school board members, when it comes to money. It looks like our property and all that's going to stay level this year. They're not expecting a significant increase. If anything, could be a decrease. But I will say that the surplus within the trust is going to be redistributed back to the school districts, 5%. And our district is going to receive $41,000 in surplus, which will be applied to our next year's premium. So that's going to save us some $41,000. Now, considering our premium last year was $7 million, you know, $41,000 still, we'll take it, you know. So really excited about that. And also, for those of you that are very aware of the history of the school district, Laurel Hill School in particular, I know many of y'all had the opportunity to work with Grover Hicks. As you know, he passed away last week. They had his service on Thursday up in Alabama. And, you know, to the Hicks family, including the Laurel Hill family, everybody that he had a positive impact on, we send our thoughts and prayers to. We definitely lost a legend within the school district, but definitely within the Laurel Hill family. And that is it.
Thank you, sir. All right, Mr. Destin.
I will be brief. I will save all my superlatives for tonight, but I will say I wanted to inform the board that I did have a very nice meeting. We were all technically invited to the City of Mary Esther's council meeting on January 20th. And because it also conflicted with the Teacher of the Year banquet, most of us couldn't go. But since it was in my district and we had been invited, I went and visited with those folks. And I want to thank Mr. Spolsky for taking time out of his night to join me. I believe we had a very good discussion. It was very respectful. They asked us some tough questions, but I believe we left with a pretty solid feeling that everybody understands the difficulty of this situation and that we're going to move forward as amicably and responsibly as everyone can as we communicate as partners through this process. So it was a good meeting. I just wanted to let the board know that we had made some inroads, I think, with their city council. And so with that, that's all I've got.
All right. Thank you, and thank you for representing us at that meeting. Mr. Heinley?
Nothing except the tradition, 26th day. And by the way, board members, you all been doing pretty poor now. So let's see how 26th President of the United States.
I've been racking my brain all day.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, very nice. That's all I have.
That's right.
And you can't add those two together. We haven't got to 52 yet.
You can.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
So Vancheck, if you
Yes,
don't
sir.
mind, where Mr. Bryant was talking about going to Tallahassee, so I just want to remind this board/folks. And when you look at Senator Gates's bill that was dealing with the Family Empowerment Scholarship, unless things have currently changed, that bill has passed the Senate. Not yet in the House. Has the House picked it up yet? So nothing has been picked up by the House yet. That bill right there would have an impact to our budget, okay? But that's just one piece. That's one piece, okay? When we continue to talk to our local legislators and other legislators, as well as our lobbyists and folks around the state, when you look at the base student allocation, if that base student allocation, if you remember, just to break even, is about $350 per student. This past year, we are $41.62. So if that doesn't substantially move, that's an impact. When you look at our FTE, which I alluded to, which will come to you at the next board meeting, the state-approved model, we will go down, as well as probably a good bit of the state will likely go down as well. So that's another piece of the puzzle. In our advocacy at the state, when the textbook allocation is in essence 2.5 million, but our allocation is 1.8 million to our district operated schools. But the textbook adoption in and of itself is anywhere from 5 to 6 million. That's another piece. When you look at something that's so dearly important to us, such as school safety and the funding that's associated with school safety, and right now we have a partnership where the county commissioners fund half of that, and then we fund half of that as well through our dollars and our state dollars that come to us. If there's any adjustments in that, that's going to be another hit. If when you look at our program cost factors, that's part of the way that the budget is created. And if those program cost factors go down, which they will, almost strategically, so those will go down as well, which is going to impact us. So when you look at all of this in terms of where we are, I think the bill that's out there for family empowerment scholarships is very important because it can be a help. So we need a House companion. So we've talked about that, but there's so many more layers to this as well. What is shared with us is this year will be a challenging budget year. We'll see whether that comes to fruition, but then the next 2 years will be even more challenging.
So that's why we're sending Tim down there.
Well, and I would also encourage, and I appreciate that, and I do represent not just myself, but I do represent the school district, the school board, because that is one of my tasks. But I think it would be encouraging if people would just send an email to our, especially in the House, because you're right, it passed unanimously. It passed unanimously on day one, unanimously, both Democrat and Republican. The House, on the other hand, this is why I jokingly said the sausage factory, because this is what happens. You're going to have a lot of moving parts, and I just hope there is a companion bill to it. I really do. That's the goal. And if we reach out to our representatives in the House, maybe somebody will have the courage to introduce a companion bill to it. So.
All right, and so if you don't mind, Mr. Bryant, I guess that's the question, Mr. Spolsky. So as things work in Tallahassee, there is a Senate bill that is passed unanimously, but am I understanding that in the House, there has not even been filed a companion bill? We don't have a House member to sponsor, including our own representatives, to sponsor a companion bill?
There wasn't last week, sir. We're tracking, but no, sir.
So I would just say that that's not good. And I guess that Mr. McInnes, you would know better than I, but there might be some opportunities in some kind of reconciliation bill as it moves into the final days of the legislature in both the House and the Senate as they come together to make some compromises. But I don't even know if that's a possibility if there's no companion bill. So I would say that that's probably more than disappointing.
And I would add to that in conversations that I've had with those at the state, whether I'm not sure there's much hope that there will be a companion bill.
Well, that's pretty disappointing. And so what can be done? Sounds like you were trying to say, Mr. Bryant, that individuals could.
Individually, as a board, we can each reach out to our two elected people. I would just encourage people who might be watching this and, just say, hey, please support this particular bill. It's fair. And there is also some accountability, and I think that's the biggest thing is the accountability piece on this. So.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So that'd be great if people would contact our legislators. That'd be
Well,
wonderful.
and I'll put one fine point on it too. It's the only way we can reach, this is running up to House leadership, trying to make, I mean, House leadership's Republican leadership. We're all Republicans up here. But the overwhelming majority of students in this state attend traditional public schools. And that also means that the majority of voting Republicans that have children, they're at traditional public schools too. But there is this pull within our own party to prop up school choice, two systems feeding at the same trough of money, when really, ultimately, the Republican Party of Florida needs to understand that Republican students are being hurt by the inaction of trying to straighten out this, and it needs to be said by many of our fellow Republicans to our Republican leadership at the state level. You got to get this straightened out.
And I agree with that, certainly, Mr. Destin. And the second part of that is what you said. This would not just be for Okaloosa County. This would be for all the counties in the state of Florida who the state found some glaring deficiencies in the accountability of those funds that are being awarded. And this would help all school districts, and it would improve, I think, the problems that were noted in the audit of those funds. So for all those reasons, I concur with your statement. It needs to be done.
Well, when people see that and they see the, $247 million unaccounted for, everybody goes, oh, that's bad. But unless people speak out, if no one says anything, then it's just going to be there and be moved down. And then once again, we sit here and have to make some really tough decisions, whether to close schools or not, and constantly doing all that. And the money is there. It just needs to come this way. And I'm so grateful to Senator Gates for stepping out, because obviously this isn't something that a lot of legislators want to get on, but he did. And I'm so grateful for him, but we just need someone else to come up and do their job and look at this.
I appreciate this discussion, because I will also say, and I read some commentary, I don't read some commentary. This has, when we look at Senator Gates's bill, this has nothing to do with necessarily parental choice. I think we've said up here, and I'll just speak for me, I'm not against parental choice.
No.
But the architecture of this program and the way that it's impacting public education, the way that's impacting budgets is problematic. So when you look at that, this is not about blaming parents whose students take the voucher.
No.
That has nothing to do with this. It has to do with the architecture of this and the impact that it has. The other piece I would say is, again, I have the blessing of having certain communications, and I also have the blessings of going out and delivering communication. And when you look at where we are right now in public education, I've said it in our senior staff, I've said it with principals, I've said it at this board, we're not going to whine about it. We're going to have a plan in place come July where we will have a balanced budget. But when you look at all the factors that I just mentioned a second ago, when you look at impact of Family Empowerment Scholarship and the PEP Scholarship, when you look at the impact in some places across the state, the Hope Scholarship, when you look at the impact of base student allocation, when you look at the impact of program cost factors, when you look at the impact of what's in categoricals, and we can all call it whatever we want to call it, when you look at the impact of categoricals, all of these things contribute. Then you go to enrollment, then you go to a number of other factors, which I probably should already stop, but I get that folks will have, and they rightfully so should have their opinions on things that they think that school districts should do, whether it be here at Okaloosa or anywhere across the state. And that's the beauty of this country. Everyone gets to have their thoughts, and I do appreciate that. But the bottom line is that myself with staff, the school board, will have to make decisions in what I would call unprecedented times in public education as pertains to the myriad of things. And what's right in front of us will be budget impacts in all these different areas that we're talking about. We've talked about in our county, we're the tale of two counties. Up north, we're growing. Down below, not as much. And when that happens, if you're going to be responsible with taxpayer dollars, you have to be able to put proposals forward, in my estimation, and I won't speak for the board, in what's best for students. And sometimes what's best for students can be debatable amongst folks, and I clearly understand that as well. But I know this board, I know the accountability that you'll have on me, and I know the accountability that I have on myself in terms of doing what's right. And I believe Mr. Spolsky will say it all the time. When you look up here, we want to be an A+ school district, and that plus is about all the other things for our students as well. And keeping that going is important for this school district on the backs of our teachers who do an absolutely outstanding job in what I would call a challenging time in public education. Our principals doing what I would call an outstanding job in leading and making difficult decisions in a challenging public education, and a district staff and leadership that absolutely works behind the scenes to make a difference for our principals, teachers, and staff in a challenging public education. So I appreciate all those folks who stick with us here in Okaloosa County. I think I'm blessed as superintendent. Again, whether I go to Publix, whether I go out, whether I go to speaking engagements, the overwhelming majority of folks appreciate the hard work that happens, and they're starting to understand the challenges that are there, not only here in Okaloosa, but across really the nation. I should probably stop.
Madam Chair, action item. What I'm going to do, and I'm suggesting to the constituents out there, if this concerns you, I'll be contacting Representative Mady and Representative Boyles personally and tell them to look at this companion bill or see what it does take to get the Senate bill through the House. If everybody does that, it'll make an impact.
And I'm with you. I will too. And so I agree with everything. Will this district have to keep taking it on the chin, so to speak, and still providing what we just saw today was CTE, A+, everything we're giving, and yet still we have to, then when we get to the financial part, it's gloom and doom, where everything else we're doing, we are providing the best we can for our students. Like I was saying with the CTE, we're consistently a top performing district. All we're asking for is giving us the funding so that we continue to do that. That seems pretty basic to me. Anything else, board members, on that? And then I do have a couple of moving along for announcements on my part. And Dr. White, you said about the Choctaw weightlifting ladies, and in another area of the district, the Baker girls weightlifting team has won their district championship, and it's their 9th consecutive time. And out of the 10 weight classifications and platforms, they got 7. So I'm very proud of those Lady Gators, and they will be moving on to region. And board members, today is actually the 100th day of school. So I know that the schools today, they have those little kids dressing up as their 100-year-old self is so cute. So it's fun. It's also the beginning of Literacy Week, and that's a state initiative where we do Just Read Florida. And this year they're doing a play on the red, white, and blue as we're moving to our country's 250th birthday in July. And so they're saying it's 250 chapters of the United States. So there's a lot of different activities in the schools today, reading with students, and I know at Baker, they're all elementary students are reading the same book throughout the the school. And then they have celebrity readers, including custodians and secretaries reading a chapter, which they put on video for the students to see, to show that reading is important for everyone. And so board members, since reading is important for everyone, I thought some of you might want to tell me about a book that made a difference to you or stood out to you when you were a student. Does anybody want to offer that up? I'll start with the fact that not only did I enjoy reading, but I enjoyed Teaching of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. And I think you could read it today and it would be as relevant as it was in 1937, where he wrote it as a homage to the post-Depression era. So anybody have a book that you enjoyed when you were a student?
I'll go ahead, since, I mean, you did spring this on us at the last moment, teach. So, the pop test. Pop test. But I thought about it a little bit more, and, you know, that moment that it pops in your brain that you can actually read, you know, I think that's a defining moment in a child's life when that just clicks, you know, and, you know, through phonics and all that, I was able to learn how to read, and one of the first books that I remember reading as a student was the Flat Stanley books. You know, that was always pretty fun. But as I got older in high school, you asked me, as I got older, staying with John Steinbeck, The Black Pearl was one of those that was required reading. And when you tell me I have to read something, I'm probably gonna, well, at the time we just couldn't flip on Amazon and find the movie that goes with the book, because as we all know, the books and the movies are not the same. But the John Steinbeck and The Black Pearl definitely was one that was like, I was like, wow, this is a really great book, and made a difference.
Okay, great.
All right, well, I'll go ahead, and I never really had thought about it, I guess, that much until you asked the question, and you mentioned during my time in school, and this might surprise a lot of folks, but I was an avid reader. But I think that's because I grew up in a time when there was no internet. We didn't have cable TV. We had an antenna you had to try to turn, and if you lived here, that didn't work too good. But anyway, books were entertainment, if you will. But in 8th grade, I had a social studies teacher who said, all right, you're all going to have to do a book report. And these are some books that you can pick from. And so there was one on there that sounded like it might be okay. It was about animals. And it was called Animal Farm by George Orwell. And of course, so to answer your question, I would say that book changed things for me a whole lot. And so I read some other books by Mr. Orwell. So I just say anything written by George Orwell.
And how relevant that is today. How about you, gentlemen? Mr. McGinnis?
I remember reading To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee.
One of my favorites, yep. And Mr. Chambers?
So I probably was not as much of an avid reader earlier in life, and so I would always read in the elementary days anything about the New York Yankees and anything with Babe Ruth.
Yep.
And we also had to do a book report, but I was told that I could not do any of those things. And that's when I had transitioned to middle school. But The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. So I found myself actually reading that and enjoying it. And so then it led to, that was then This Is Now, and then Rumblefish. So S.E. Hinton got me into to things back then.
Thank you, that's it. You know, that's a female, Susan Hinton. She went by S.E. because they wouldn't publish her because she was female.
She was a female?
Yes. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Mr. Chambers, you could have said Sports Illustrated too. I was going to say Sports Illustrated.
All right, down this end, gentlemen.
I'll tell you, I did a decent amount of reading when I was young. My father and mother was an educator, but I really did not transition over into sort of the classics and fiction until I had the benefit of having Steve McLaughlin as my 12th grade honors literary teacher. And it was an important time in my life because, you know, you get introduced to some of the classics starting in 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade. You know, 10th grade, it's hard to convince a 15-year-old, you know, the sort of impact of the deceit of Brutus when you're making them read Julius Caesar. But then by the time some of us get to 12th grade, the introduction of Shakespeare through Hamlet, and combined with Steve's just line by line breaking down, and you start to understand how fortunate all of us are to have had English as our first language, and you realize what an absolute genius he was at portraying the human condition, to whatever it means to being human and alive, and why 500 years ago it wasn't much different than now, and how beautiful and interesting and deep and complex all of it was. And then, of course, with the iambic pentameter, you go, oh my God, it just opens up an entire new world. It means so much to have been also introduced to that with a good person to help you connect with the material. So the books, I mean, they're incredible, but some of these people that we have working in the district to make that connection for you, I mean, it opened up an entire new area of learning for me, and it didn't happen until 12th grade, so I'm going to brag on Steve a little bit, but he helped me out a lot.
And a former member of the school board.
Yep, that's right.
That is correct.
Yep. All right, Mr. Heinley?
Well, I'm gonna stick with the Steinbeck theme, the Red Pony. 7th grade, Ruckle Middle School. It had hope, disappointment, reality, and it was the first book that had a curse word that we ever had done.
Big deal.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate all of you going along with that and letting me throw that on you today. So anyway, all right, moving along. Thank you so much. Let's continue with our agenda. That was good. All right, so we're on 14, public comment, general public comments. 14.1, members of the public desiring to address the school board with general comments. That's the yellow card. And then, let's see, we have nothing down there. Okay, so we're down to adjournment, but before we do that, staff, anything you would like to bring up? I'm not going to ask you your book because we don't have time, but I know you have one, right, Ms. Perry?
I will say to Mr. Heinley's comment, OTC is open for enrollment. They have 14 programs there, 700 certificates earned by them. We'll ask Mr. Williams to come and give a brief on all the offerings that OTC is offering our adults out there.
That's great.
And what else are we doing with OTC?
Bit more to come on our health clinic, sir.
No.
Oh.
What's happening on the north end?
OTC North will be unveiled in the 26-27 school year.
I know, exciting, very exciting, good stuff. All right, over on this side, do y'all have any comments, Patrick, anybody? Anybody? All right, I believe we are adjourned. Thank you so much.